Disney. It's supposed to be magical or whatever, right? Well, not when I went. In my sophomore year, my school's performing arts department decided to do a 5-day trip to Disneyland and Universal Studios. Whoa. After deciding last minute to go, we all got on a bus and started driving to California. You know, I just realized something sad about the whole trip. The only thing I really enjoyed was the bus ride to California and back from California. Both of the rides were at night, and there was just something I found peaceful about listening to music while everyone slept. We finally got to California and arrived at a motel where we were staying at. Pause. Leading up to the trip, we were told on the brochure and by our teachers that we were going to be staying in a nice hotel, not a roach-infested motel.
Ew, poor!
I got added to a rooming list of 3 guys who I didn't really interact with much. Craig, Garrett, and Colin. Craig and Garrett shared a bed, and I was supposed to share a bed with Colin. Nah, I slept in a chair every night. I probably still have back problems to this day from sleeping in that chair. We were taking the little shuttle into Disneyland, and then it dawned on me. I have nobody to hang out with. See, my sophomore year was the worst year of my life, future video, and because of certain events, I didn't really have what someone would call friends. I did end up finding Stu, the guy from my homecoming video, and his squad of friends. Kelly, from the same video, Paisley, and, what fake name do I want to give this guy? Arnold. Weirdly enough, these 2 were one of the couples from that homecoming video as well. Weird. I asked them if I could hang out with them, and they said sure, and then immediately went to ignore me. Like, totally ignore me. Paisley and Arnold were in the talking stage, so they were only focused on each other, and Stu and Kelly just yapped and totally left me out of the conversation, so after realizing I was not wanted, I just left. After that, I just wandered around Disneyland like a stray dog. For hours. I didn't go on one ride, I just walked around. I did loops, guys. Loops! By myself around what's supposed to be the most magical place in the world. The end of the night came, and I just remember sitting on a bench with a popcorn bucket, eating, just watching fireworks. There's a video of me just sitting alone, cold and alone, just waiting to go back to the bus to go back to the motel and call it a night. I know I could have enjoyed myself a little more, I was at Disney after all, but it feels awkward just to go on rides alone. I even have this snap I sent to Ashley. She's from this video. Eventually, I saw classmates walking back to the buses, and I got up and joined them. When I got back to my motel room, the guys I was rooming with were already talking about their fun day. Yeah, man, that was so much fun. Hey, Ewigze, what rides did you go on? None. What do you mean, none? I didn't go on any rides. Oh, well, that's okay. Who'd you hang out with? Nobody. Nobody? They felt so bad for me that they actually invited me to join them for the rest of the trip. And it was kind of fun, but I still felt like I was an outsider. I knew they weren't hanging out with me because they wanted to be friends. They were hanging out with me because they felt sorry for me. Also because our choir teacher very specifically told us not to go off on our own, and we had to be with 2 people or more. Sitting on that bench is when it hit me, I really didn't have friends. I watched so many people walk by with friends, laughing and joking and having a good time while I just sat there by myself with an empty bucket of popcorn. Hold on, matter of fact,
This bucket right here.
well, it's that time of year again. The time of year where I miss scare acting. I'm a scare actor in the fall where I willingly get paid to dress up in costumes and makeup and go scare people at my local amusement park during their fall Halloween event. I've been doing this for about 7 years now and have about 7 years worth of stories. I was originally going to tell them in order, but that's going to take too long, so I welcome you to my new series, Scare Actor Stories Volume 1. In my 4th year, I was in a witchy type room that was shaped like this. This was the entrance up here, and this was the exit with a ramp right here. This room was small, so there wasn't a lot to do. So what I was doing this night was crawling up the ramp at people and doing this crazy breathing / evil laughter I've taught myself to do. It sounds like this. Every house has a supervisor, and for this night, my supervisor was a guy named Eric. Eric would walk through the house checking up on actors and the props, but also deciding which room to give the nightly award to for the scariest room. When he came into my room, I did my act crawling up the ramp at him. He saw me, he went, "Nope." And he quickly escaped through the door in my room that takes you to the cast area. 5 minutes later, he comes back in and goes, "You scared the out of me." Later that night, guess who ended up getting the Room of the Night award? Yup, me. As a scare actor, there are some things you've got to get used to, and one of these things is harassment. I don't know when it became the norm to harass scare actors, but dude, why? It's mostly guys trying to seem tough to impress either girls or friends, but it's not impressing anyone. In fact, most of the time, it's just sad. You're so insecure about yourself that you have to try to scare a scare actor in front of your friends or girls just to feel tough. Dude, it's not funny. I was working on the crew that gets to roam the entire park when this group of teens come up. This is the third time this group had come up to us trying to harass us, mainly this one kid who just kept screaming in our ears, "Help me!" So, when he did it this time, I yelled back at him, "I can't help you with your raging big forehead!" I made the other two actors I was with break character. He goes pink in the face, embarrassed, and his friends laugh at him, and other people that are around go, "Whoa!" Do I feel bad? Absolutely not, because he was being insecure and trying to harass us. Now, to get some confusion out of the way for future videos, I'm going to explain the system of how the scare acting works at this local amusement park I'm at. The first level of actor are the house actors. They work in the house. The second level of actors are the line actors. They work the line and the outside area of their house but can't leave their house. And the third level are street actors. Street actors get to roam the whole park except for Kittyland, because children don't need that trauma. My second ever time being on street, I was a scarecrow with a group, and we ran into some children's street actors that were like royalty or knights or something. This king character or whatever sees me and pulls out his sword and points it at me and calls me a peasant. I'm not just gonna take that, so I pull out my weapon, which was like this little scythe or something, and I go, "Oh, you wanna dance, pretty boy? Let's dance!" He eventually just puts his sword away and walks away. I then yelled I was the king, and then a bunch of people got a good chuckle out of that. How did I get here? Well, let's rewind a bit. In 7th grade, for some weird reason, I decided to do the school musical. This decision would later go on to make me what is classified as a theater kid. I got cast as the ensemble of the show, which is just like the unnamed characters for all of you that don't understand theater lingo. So, what musical was my school doing that would be my musical debut? How to Succeed in Business Without Really Trying. Yeah, long title. In this musical, there is a scene where the office workers run out of coffee and they freak out like crazy in the song Coffee Break, which is how I see most people. Some people just can't function without coffee, and it's bad. Give me that! When we were choreographing this dance, the choreographer, her name was Tracy, was like, "Alright, you, me? Yeah, are you afraid of falling?" Not really, I guess. "Perfect, you're gonna do a stage fall." Huh? So what her vision was that I would come forward during a big swelling moment in the song, stand front and center, then turn around and fall off stage, where 6 other ensemble characters would be waiting to catch me. So in a sense, my character dies from falling out of a window over coffee. But I heard that and I was totally on board. We rehearsed this several times without actually falling before we actually did a test fall, because safety and whatnot. During our first dress rehearsal, one of the guys who had to catch me, Isaac, didn't bring his costume, so he just decided not to go on stage the whole rehearsal and he just sat in the back on his phone. However, because of the formation we were in, there was a perfect hole where Isaac would have been standing. I think you see where I'm going with this. I move front and center, the guys catching me go off stage, I do this little freak out pacing waiting for the cue in the music, I give a salute, turn around, and fall. Now, the other guys caught me, but my head goes right through the hole where Isaac should have been standing. So these guys are basically holding me upside down by the legs as my head is dangling to the floor. They were supposed to carry me like this all the way through some doors, but it just wasn't going well, so I just yelled, "Just drop me!" which they did. The funny part about this is there was a camera streaming everything live to the people backstage, so everyone who wasn't on stage saw it. I came backstage and everyone's like, "Are you okay?" And I'm just like, "Yeah, I'm chilling." And Isaac just avoided me. He didn't even apologize. The director had notes for us at the end of rehearsal, and one of her first notes was, "Why did Ewigze almost die?" She got really pissed at Isaac for, almost getting me hurt, but I don't really care because now I have the cool story to tell. Things that just disgust me. Number 1, feet. Feet just gross me out, and I don't know why. If I was in a Mr. Beast video and I had to give someone a foot massage for $1 million, I wouldn't... Actually, that's a lie, I would do it. $1 million, guys. There's nothing that would gross me out or scare me away from $1 million. Like, come on. I remember when we had this choir retreat and they wanted us to play this team bonding game where we had to get 10 people, hold a tub of water with their feet, and each person had to take off their socks without dropping the water. Ugh! What does this have to do with team bonding? They tried to get me to play, but I refused. I didn't care if I was being antisocial. There's no way you're getting me that close to someone else's bare foot with the risk of it touching me. Feet just gross me out. Like, if I had a girlfriend, and she wanted a foot massage or something, it's a no. Shoulders? Sure. Back? Sure. Feet? Number 2, drug tests. In my days of school sports, I've taken my fair share of drug tests where you gotta pee into a little cup, and all I gotta say is, really? We are in 2026, and still the best way to tell if someone has done drugs recently is for them to pee in a cup and hand it to some poor nurse. Here, take my pee. Number 3, now this one's gonna be a little controversial, sauce. I don't like sauce on my foods. I like my food plain. Like if I was going to McDonald's, what I'm going to order is just a double cheeseburger plain with meat, cheese, and bread. That is what I'm going to get. Now, I like spices and I will spice up my food like crazy, but other than that, I don't like saucy foods or even dipping sauce. So you'll never catch me eating stuff like ketchup, mustard, mayo, marinara, or anything like that. Well, aside from butter. I'm not psycho. Number 4, when somebody takes a fork and they scrape it on a plate. Ugh, I hate that sound so much. Dogs or cats? This question is really simple for me, and it's cats. Not that I don't like dogs, but my cats have never tried to kill me. Back when I was a small child, my mom was taking me to the local park to play while my sister was at school because I was too young for school. Haha, loser. According to my mom's testimony, some trashy-looking lady comes to the park with her dog. Pause. I don't know dog breeds or anything like that, but my mom described this dog to look like this, so all my dog people out there, I guess try to figure this one out. Now the thing with this lady and her dog is that the dog was not on a leash, so it was allowed to roam free, at me, and I guess I was looking like a chew toy. The dog spots me and starts coming at me, but my mom steps between me and the dog. Miss, could you please put your dog on a leash? Oh, he's fine. He's friendly. So friendly, as my head is just in this dog's mouth. Meanwhile, its owner's just sitting there doing nothing, so my mom has to step in. Are people gonna get mad at my mom for punting a dog? Probably. But he was biting my head. I'd say she was justified. My mom and the lady start arguing with each other, which led to threats of calling animal control because there was a leash sign that this woman was just completely ignoring. When the lady realized that she was actually in the wrong, she went, "Oh crap," snatched her dog, and booked it back to her car. I was way too young to remember this, but this is a pretty good example as to why I think cats are better. I have Midnight, she's my 18-year-old black cat, who is just the prettiest princess of all. And then there's Nugget / Bubba / Fat Boy, who is 22 pounds of just pure foob and fluff. Cars, when put into the wrong hands, can be very dangerous. That's why I'd rather take back roads everywhere. For some random activity for my choir class, we were driving around handing out... Actually, for the life of me, I can't remember what we were handing out. Cookies? Pastries? I have no idea what these things were. We were driving around to certain locations and then handing them out, singing a song, and then leaving. I preferred my life not to be in the hands of a classmate, so I opted to drive. I then was randomly assigned 3 passengers from each section of the choir. Such fun driving around a bunch of choir kids. We were making our deliveries, and I was being a safe driver, as usual, to the point where Kay had to blurt out, "Ewigze, you know you're like the safest driver I've ever known." Thank you. Hey, no, that's a compliment. I know so many guys that just want to drive really fast, and it's a good thing you drive safe, because driving safe means you're like really reliable, and that's always really important because being reliable and safe driver. We had just finished like our second to last delivery and turned back to my car to see a blue car with 4 of our classmates pulling up to say hi. Now, here's a diagram of where we were position-wise so it makes a little more sense. Here's us, the blue car, and here's my car down here. We had to walk around a bit because we got lost in this neighborhood. We talked with the people from this car, and the driver of this car was named Paul. Oh, keep in mind, totally normal conversation. Nobody was getting angry, nobody was picking a fight, everything was normal. As Kay wrapped up the chit-chat, I go, "Well, see you later," and gave the roof of Paul's car 2 taps and started walking to my car. Then I hear Paul yell, "You mother..." before his car door opens and he's getting out. I'm confused, but the tone of his voice and how he was coming out of his car really didn't seem friendly, so naturally, I took off running to my car. Keep in mind, this came out of nowhere. All I did was tap his car twice and then start walking away. Maybe he's just really protective of his car and doesn't like people touching it. I have no idea. Thankfully, I was much faster than him. My passengers all started making their way to my car and Paul returned to his. But when he did... this dude seriously tried to hit us, and all this happened in like less than a minute. We pile back into my car a little confused and with some nervous laughter, and Kay asked me if I'm going to report to the choir teacher that Paul just ran at me with a knife.
What do you mean by that?
Turns out this dude charged at me with a knife, but I didn't know it because I was hightailing it out of there. People do crazy things when you have a substitute teacher, but watching someone get drunk is the craziest one I've seen. I was in choir, and if you've ever been in choir with a sub, if the sub has never touched a piano, then they'll just throw on a movie or something, and it's pretty much a free day, which I'm not going to complain about. I walked into choir to the lovely sight of a substitute teacher and knew it was about to be an easy day. I sat down in the back row along with the other guys who took choir for the Easy A, and one of those guys was Daniel. And to put this as nicely as I can, Daniel was an interesting dude. The substitute tells us that they don't know how to play the piano, so they've just been instructed to turn on a movie, and we got to pick it. Want to guess what movie the choir class picked? The Greatest Showman. Right as the movie begins, Daniel reaches into his bag, Dudes, check it. He then proceeds to pull out 2 bottles of adult apple juice. I kind of just ignored it and scrolled on my phone, but the next thing I knew, Daniel was intoxicated. In class. He started singing along to the songs of the movie, and people kept telling him to shush because he was singing like, "This is the greatest We tried to quiet him down, but he just wouldn't stay quiet, probably because his brain was on vacation at the moment. We then got to the part in the movie where 2 characters kiss, and Daniel proceeds to yell, "That's hot! I want to see that again." Daniel then stumbles to the screen and starts touching the screen just to go back to the kiss. One of the guys from our row goes down to grab him and somehow successfully gets him back into his seat. We didn't see much of Daniel after that. Some say him and his dad moved to France, but I don't know if I believe that. And I'm just going to say this, there are designated places to drink in public, but your high school choir room is not one of them. Oh, and don't underage drink. That's also really bad. Winning feels great, and being honest here, I haven't won or accomplished much in life so far, but here's one of the times I did. Who remembers in elementary when your teacher would place down one of these lovely multiplication sheets? From what I've seen online, these things stressed others out, but me, being the nerd I was in elementary, I was really good at these. I would finish these things in less than a minute, and this was before I had my own phone, so the teacher would be looking around to see if I was hiding a calculator. Technically I was, but in my brain. I can't explain it, I was just really good at fast multiplication. Jumping 2 years in the future, and I'm in 6th grade, and I hear at recess that one of the 4th grade classes challenged a 6th grade class to something called a multiplication showdown, and that the 4th grade class beat the 6th grade class horribly. We thought they were idiots for losing to a bunch of 4th graders, but then that 4th grade class would go on to beat every single 6th grade class until they got to mine. Before I go any further, here's how their little showdown would work. One teacher would have a bunch of flashcards, and a 6th grader and a 4th grader would line up against each other. The teacher would flip a card, and whoever said the correct answer first won. They would then get back in line, and then the loser would sit down, in shame. The day this showdown happened, the 4th graders came into our classroom with such swagger, they thought they already won. We get lined up, and I immediately see why they were so cocky. They were destroying us, and after every win, they would celebrate like they just won the Super Bowl. Talk about getting your students engaged in learning. We were getting beat. It was 3-17. Me, this girl Allison, and this girl Maria were the last standing against an army. We knew it was time to lock in. We went on a tear eliminating these fourthies. My class started getting into it, cheering for us every time we won, until Allison went down, and then Maria. And before my class knew it, it was me versus 9 4th graders, and the morale on our side was at an all-time low. The 4th graders thought they won, but I didn't hear any bell. I was squad wiping these kids. It was down to 1 versus 1. The teacher flips the card, and we tied. Ooh, man, the intensity right now. My little heart was beating, and this literally meant nothing. We weren't going to go on to state champions or get diamond-encrusted rings. The teacher flips another card, and tie again. Then another, and another, and another. Until she flipped the next card. 7 times 8. 56! We went crazy. I tried showing good sportsmanship and going over to the guy who I beat, but he wouldn't even look me in the eye. Later, we would be football teammates, and I still think he hated me. So yeah, that was one of the times I was a champion, and I got the cool story to tell. But I can't help wondering if we were supposed to let the 4th graders win, and just nobody told me. You know, I think I'm gonna ask out Bailey. She's cute and funny, and we've been in the same friend group for a long... Sorry to interrupt. Are you planning on dating within your friend group? Yeah, why? Well then, sit down and listen to my course on the dangers of dating in your friend group. Take notes. Dating within your friend group could either A, go totally okay, or B, go horribly wrong. That could lead to civil war in the friend group. How do I know this? Because I experienced it. You see, in 9th grade, I had what I thought was a group of friends. What do you mean by you thought? Future video, guys. Future video. In this group, there were 7 of us. Ashley, Laura, Brittany, Lindsay, James, and Kobe. After developing as a group of friends, that's when Cupid started to get a little... Kobe and Ashley were crushing on each other, Brittany was crushing on me, James and Laura and Lindsay were neutral at this point. And then it happened. Ashley asked out Kobe, and from there, it spread throughout the group like a virus. Brittany and I started dating, future video, and Laura and James, not wanting to be left out, also started dating. What about Lindsay? Well, she started not hanging out with us. Now, everyone was dating everyone, and there was peace. For like a few months. Ashley and Kobe were doing things that I won't say on this channel, but it made their relationship rocky, and pretty soon, the first breakup happened. It was actually James and Laura. They both just felt it wasn't working and that they were forced together, so it just stopped. Then Ashley and Kobe split, and this is where things got bad. Ashley was our designated planner of events in the group. Without her, the group wouldn't hang out, and she didn't want to invite Kobe due to them just breaking up. So the group stopped hanging out outside of school. I would later find out that they would actually hang out without me, but that's not relevant yet. Enough information? Well, we're not done yet. Laura saw the direction the group was headed and started slowly distancing herself from it. Me and Brittany's relationship was a little rocky due to some things going on outside of school, and Ashley then started dating James, and man, that was a bad idea. Ashley would mock James for his weight straight up to his face, and since he's always been a bigger guy and everyone always made fun of him for being big, this was his breaking point. And from March to May, he lost, and I am not making this up, 40 to 50 pounds. Ashley and James' relationship was not healthy whatsoever, and it was physically unhealthy for James. And if I remember right, he dumped her, and this made her go crazy. She thought if she couldn't be happy with a relationship, then nobody could, and started whispering in the ear of Brittany, and pretty soon we split up too. Little did I know I was only in this friend group because Brittany liked me, and now that we were separated, it would only be a matter of time before they decided they were done with me, and what followed was the worst year of my life. Our group didn't survive the war, but maybe yours can, so if you like one of your friends more than just friends, go for it, but some advice, assess the risks first. Just because you are crushing on someone does not mean you have to blow up your entire friend group.